kids get teenagers, they really don't think too cool about their parents. But as the grandfather was counsel very wise and very smart, he was able to corral him and get him busy and tied up. And at that time, we had what you call the youth circle. And he became one of the lead drummers as tenors. And the drum corps we had was two sets of drummers. The ones that were real sharp and could learn quick and could beat fast or could do it, they were called the snare. And the other ones that were not as fast were the tenor drummers. But he was our lead snare in the street marches that we marched throughout the various parts of the New York Northeast region. Not only that, he sang reluctantly. He sang with the Image for Christ. I didn't make those boys sing. I'm being honest. I made them sing, and they didn't want to sing, but I made them sing, and they sang all right. Their mother used to dress them all up in the stage. She could sew real well. Made them all look like the same kind of clothes. And her say, really. One thing that always amazed me about Murray was that he could somehow corral stats of basketball players and football players. All of their stats on what they were like and how they were like and the various things about them, all the positions and all the history in the background. That sort of kind of made me sort of proud because he has that photostatic memory mind, which God can use in such a great way. One other thing that I think is a great, and I think he got a little bit from me, but not all of that. I think it mostly comes from him. He loves to research hotels and eating places. At all of the major conventions. He has a knack of something about how he can find places to eat that didn't have a line, that you could eat quick and it was country food. When he would take us all to some places, I never said it to him. I was glad I had to go back the second time. But a lot of the places was absolutely fabulous in that sense. And one last thing I want to say that I know for a heart, he supports and pushes the vision of the church with all of his heart. Financially, he's a giver. I mean, straight up giver. The only people that beat him giving is me. And I ain't letting nobody in the place that God has put me beat me giving. Because I'm the head. But he certainly comes right behind there. And spiritually, he loves his Jesus.
Amen.
And I'm telling you, he certainly has had his moments in his time that all of us do, that he really got hurt and pain and etc. But let me tell you, hurt and pain will teach you how to trust God. It'll teach you how to lean on him. Teach you how to believe in him. And instead of it being a negative, it turns out to be a positive. And then we got one other incident, and then we're going to give it over back to Brother Mark. And we do have a whole lot to go.
Since he brought that point in, I remember Bernie had said that we was trying to tell him about being saved, and he didn't want to be saved. And somehow or another, he went away to college, and he got sick while he was in Buffalo. And didn't know what was going on. He called us, told us that the doctor said this, that, and the other. So we got in the car that Christmas, 2 days before Christmas, and drove to Buffalo. We had Sherry and Taria in the car. Packed the car with the toys that we got for them for Christmas. Went to Buffalo, got to Buffalo, nobody knew where he was. Ended up, he was in the hospital. And got sick, and the doctor told him they didn't know what was wrong. No. So when I got to the hospital, he hadn't had anything to eat. And before I left the house, the Lord told me to take the blessed oil with me. I took that blessed oil with me. When I got to the hospital, he hadn't eaten anything. And he told me he was hungry, with tubes and needles everywhere. And I went downstairs to the cafeteria and got a cup of chicken noodle soup. And I smashed up the noodles in that cup and put 3 drops of blessed oil in that cup. Bernie soaked every bit of that soup down and told me he wanted more. We went and got another cup and he did that. So by the time we got ready to leave, he was feeling a little better, but the doctor would release him. So we told him, come home and we'll come back to get him. By the time we got from Buffalo to Albany in a snowstorm, he called on the phone, said the doctor had let him out of the house. He was running. He came home. Stayed a few days till he got well. He went back to Buffalo again. Got sick again. This time he had to fly him home from Buffalo to Albany Medical Center. He stayed there till he got well. He got up, got well, went back to Buffalo again. Well, the next time he came home to stay. Amen. And that night, one night, I was sitting in the bedroom, and he came in my bedroom and sat down in the chair. And I'm saying to myself, what's going on with this boy? He just sat there and wouldn't say a word. So usually when I started talking about the Lord, about being saved, I don't want to hear it, I didn't say nothing, so I started telling myself. I said, what's wrong? He said, nothing in my life is going right. I said nothing, so finally, I said, well, sometimes the things are not going right in your life. Maybe it's time that you let the Lord handle your life. Well, that's the first time you should say, I don't want to hear. So I talked a little bit more, talked about the blessings of the Lord, never said a word. So I laid down in the bed and I fell asleep. And I thought that he had gone home. Well, there was nobody in the house but Mark at that time. And the next morning I had got up and went upstairs and I was in the kitchen sitting at the table having a cup of tea. And I heard footsteps in the house. I said, somebody's in the house. And my kitchen went this way, but the rest of the house went this way. So I'm sitting at the table looking, because I heard footsteps coming up the stairs, and I had my head stretched around trying to see who it was. When I looked, there was him. I said, what are you doing here? I said, did you go home? He said, Mom? He said, I don't have one no more. I thought he lost his mind. I said, what do you have? He said, my burdens and my problems. He said, I don't have them no more. He said, I gave everything to Jesus. Mama, I'm saved. Well, I took a little rain of salt. I really didn't believe it. So I threw it around the wife. I'm going home. So I said, oh God, you go home. That's the end of it. Well, he got home. And that evening, we got ready to go to church. When I got to church, Brandon was at church. Now Johnson was talking to him. And I said, what's on? He said, Bunny got saved. He called him Bunny. Bunny got saved. But you know something? Before I got out of that church, somebody from Chicago, Illinois had got to me and called back and asked me, did Bernie get saved? I said, yes, he did.